One thing I liked in the play was just the general characteristic of an episodic play, and so how you see all these different perspectives come together on one like main area, to learn more about like an issue or the story of the play. I really like seeing all the perspectives and seeing how they correlate. One perspective I thought was interesting was Matthew's father in not giving the death penalty. Given that someone killed your son, I think it would be pretty hard to show mercy. And he obviously didn't want to, but he still chose to. So I thought that was an interesting perspective. And then second was Aaron and Russell, and just how, like, what their thought process is, that you are so angry with someone based on how they want to live their life, that you go out and kill them. That just kind of boggles my mind. And then one question I had was, how did this help the LGBTQ plus community later on? And obviously, initially, it raised awareness and publicity to the issue. And in 2009, the Matthew Shepard and James Byrd Jr. Hate Crime Prevention Act was passed. And this protected LGBT community as, like, under hate crime. If something was done to them, it could be considered a hate crime, which just shows me, like, it creates more connection to the story because it shows me how it impacts my life and how it's impacted the country as a whole. Just in the future, seeing how it's caused change. And then the town of Laramie would be a character in transition. Many of the people in the town were tolerant or didn't care, or still disapproved of homosexuality. However, due to Matthew, you saw several people go from tolerant to accepting and even outright supporting homosexuality. A great example of this is with Fred Phelps. He was against homosexuality and was protesting at Matthew's funeral. And you see a group of students go up to him and counter-protest him by singing. And Romaine Patterson, she even said that someone needed to stand toe-to-toe with him. And you just see a lot of people begin to support homosexuality who may not have before, who were just tolerant of it, or who just didn't care. Now they were coming out and supporting, which is a very important thing. And I think this could happen in Columbus. I think there's a lot more openness and a lot more organizations that help promote homosexuality. But obviously it could happen anywhere. There's always people who have differing opinions and will like stand out against homosexuality. One example that I liked of the episodic type play that's different from the previous one is it's not as fluent. So you have to use more thinking, in my opinion, and analysis to really understand it. The previous one was just a basic story. It went right along like one singular line. In the episodic play, you kind of got to connect the dots more to really understand all the different perspectives. And then there's more characters. Obviously, you have the students. You have Fred Phelps, Romaine Patterson, Matthew's father, Matthew, Aaron, and just all these different characters, and seeing how they all interconnect with each other. And also with that, my third one is how it has more perspectives. You get a holistic view of the issue being presented. And this just helped me understand it more, and it created more thought on the issue presented. And then my first question is, do you think you would have stood up for homosexuality, especially given the time and how that necessarily wasn't as open of an idea as it is now? And are you surprised by the father's decision to allow for life in prison instead of the death penalty?